Holy moly.
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let me just turn on the comments on my page. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Is it on? Oop. Let's see. Is it on? Yeah. Yeah, there he goes. We got a couple people in. Yeah, we're getting killed on these notifications, but that's all right. No, whatever, whatever. Well, what is that behind you? Is that a fake? Oh, that's a.
Fireplace.
Yeah, very cool.
I like the vibe.
Yeah, blue ice, blue ice,
Yeah.
with the purple and the black that's kind of purple.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so Kandice Ko, beloved sister, in the house. We got to touch base for a 15-minute conversation because of the synchronicities involving Franco, Kimberly, and there was quite a few people. It seemed like, and I don't remember. I'm not real good about remembering details sometimes, just the energy. But when we connected, it reminded me of it because I think you said that you took a deep dive for 6 months, if I remember correctly. And if it wasn't you, it was somebody else. It was basically, and it was a pattern I saw. Like sometime mid last year, some people just kind of disappeared, you know.
Yeah.
And you were telling me, I think something to that effect. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And all for their own unique reasons. It was kind of like there was a collective project that was ongoing and it ran up until about June or July. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people that were involved in that collective project literally got called into like another direction. And it was literally like a scattering. People got called offline. Some people got called into their families really deep into the physical world. Other people, like it was just like nobody even saw it coming or even really talked about it. It was just like a boom. I got to
Wow.
go this way. I got to go, and that's the way it was. And I experienced this with a lot of my connections, or connections, my relations, people that I was um, catalyzing with or collaborating with. It was just like boom. And it happened to myself as well. I got called into a particular direction, and I'm calling that like I went in it. I went deep into the collective shadow and parts of myself. And I really noticed that it started around uh, September. So yeah, a lot of people just dropped off from what they were doing. It was like
Hmm.
unfinished projects just completely left. But then I'm noticing that there was there was and is continuing to be a lot of completion with regards to the tangent. Like it's not a tangent that people have gone on. They're completing and going through really integral, important experiences. And then there will be a continuation of where we had left off.
So, do you have any feel for the project that kind of splintered and is coming back online? What was going on like up until that point?
Well, the first thing, as soon as you said that, I heard tying up loose ends. So a lot of us were tying up loose ends, and a lot of us were going to places that were compromised. It's almost like if there's a leak in the boat, like you can't just keep driving the boat. Everybody's got to go down and fix the leak. But there was like multiple leaks. So a lot of people had to go and fix the leaks, or there was other things. It was like it's almost like this is the analogy that I'm getting. Your ship had just been hit by something you weren't expecting, and it
Mm,
caused fractures in multiple places,
mm.
and that required technicians of all varieties to go into those avenues.
It sounds like the
Just as an
structure that
analogy.
the structure of the ship had to change too.
Sure,
Like I
yeah.
feel like that feels like that.
Huge multiplicity to the analogy there. And like genius, there's literal genius behind it because the grand architect and architects behind everything, they're able to troubleshoot on the fly. So it's like everybody's like, we're on the ship, great, we're going, like it's a go. Everyone's partying, we're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then something happens, and then it's just like, boom, instant recalibration on the fly. Like everybody gets their directives from higher self, inner self, and then just goes boom. And it looks like regular life. It just looks, you don't even notice
Yeah.
how genius. And I liked Martin's word. I don't think I'll be able to say it, but it's like the instantaneous
Yeah.
sequence of events all.
Sequentaneous.
Yeah,
Sequentaneous.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I got to
That's
remember
it.
that.
Yeah, we've
Well, what
been.
you
Yeah.
well, what you said, okay, you said a lot. And again, there's a multiplicity to it. So like what you said about the deep dive and going to the hole that you're responsible for, that hole is multidimensional. So like I've seen a lot of people in this time period, they might be living with people where they need to tie up loose ends. There's a grid work type of aspect to it as well in terms of their geographical location because there's a hole there, in the collective, right? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like that, they need that pillar. So there's that part of it. And of course, the personal part of it, which is mano y mano with the universe, right?
Oh, it's just so incredible, like how many duties we fulfill in such a multifaceted microcosm, macrocosm way.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
think that we're just doing this menial task, but really that menial task on this lower dimension ricochets all the way up into completion in that sequence of events. You
Yep.
gotta, the bottom is a um, one of the, like, it's not the most important, but it's like you're only, I keep getting, you're only as strongest as your weakest link,
Yeah.
and find the strength in the weaknesses, and
Yeah.
that's how you tie up the loose ends.
Yeah. 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 Your greatest weakness is your greatest strength,
Yeah. And
kind of
honoring
thing.
that I just got huge goosebumps there. And like that just goes into everything that this whole world is learning right now about what's essential. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right? So, like, yeah, and I'm a big believer. I always have been. As time has gone on, it's become more, I don't want to say conviction, but just, it's a belief. It's just my own thing, right? I mean, it doesn't mean it's the gospel for everybody else, but that we, because of the range of, like the pool of experience and consciousness and polarity, you could even say that the range of density that we have, even though we're not totally clear on what's going on in the everyday life of every one of our multidimensional aspects, that we have an impact like no other across all timelines and dimensions at this time. Like we learned from our aspects, and in essence, now they're learning from us, or maybe they always have been.
It's a brilliant feedback system. It's feedback. It's just constant feedback, and with every receiving, with every giving and receiving, there is an improvement. There is a constant improvement upon, and that is the grand design of reality, um, that we are comprised of. And it's the word comprise and like compromise, and like we were compromised, but now we are not compromised, and like, and then also making compromises. Like there's so many components, and this is such a, just like an incredible experience to be able
Yeah.
to witness here in matter, like as living consciousness unfolding. And like I liked what you said previously as well, like learning as you go in the video game. Like you're not studying
Mm-hmm.
before you play the game, you're
Right.
literally learning and adapting as you
Yeah.
go. And
Yeah.
that's what the true evolution and like the survival of the fittest is. It's not survival of the strongest, it's survival of the most creative and the
Hmm.
most adaptable, with the most flexible capacity to improve in the now moment, based on like everything that's happening internally and externally in your environment.
Boom. Acceptance.
Yeah.
open-mindedness,
Yeah.
open-minded
Oh,
energy,
yeah.
that whole bringing into the heart, the demons and the angels. You know,
All of
it's
it.
all, it's really owning that oneness. And then going back to what you said about the weaknesses. I mean,
Ooh.
the seeing the weaknesses, which is the, you know, on one hand, the beauty of the dark beauty of the diversity of the universally seeded realm that we're in, right? I mean, so you see that playing, you know, with, you know, different, whatever, you know, this side and that side and us and them. And then you see 500,000 people at Canberra in Australia waiting for some big event next weekend. You see all these truckers. You know what I mean? I
Oh
mean,
my
there's
gosh.
something going on that is on the literally on the precipice of the event.
Mhm.
Maybe the event
Oh my
is when the first major wall comes tumbling down, because they're going to be like dominoes,
God.
because
Hmm.
they're all linked. And if
It's
one's a
all
lie,
linked.
they're
Yeah.
all a lie, right?
Right. Okay. Okay. You're so as you were talking, I was getting that project that everybody was collaborating on. It was like this really high vibrational project, and I could see us um, what, what's that word, cascading upwards from this certain point, and then everybody got the message, no, you have to drive this deeper. This is a physical awakening. Now take
Mm.
that and bring it lower.
Right,
And then
right.
it looked like a fall. It looked like another, like, oh, we've gone back. No, 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 we go backwards to go forwards, because we have to go to the bottom up and bring that down. And now what are we seeing in humanity? We're seeing the dark night of the soul of humanity. We're seeing them hit the catalytic collision point of their own, like,
Mm-hmm.
cocoon butterfly moment times whatever you said, 500,000. And then, there's so, oh my gosh, there's just so much gold. It's just, what do you pick? There's like, it's everywhere. It's like the fertilizer is in every speck now. Courage is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Courage is contagious. And people have been fed this limited scope of vision for so long. And the narrow focus actually really helped, because everybody got so narrow focused that when the bandwidth of expansion was offered, it was just like, yes, yes. And then it's just like, you just want to get on that. You want to open it up with that and join that energy. It will pull you in. And the people that don't see it yet, it's a chamber of resonance that is
Mm.
rippling through the planet right now,
Mm-hmm.
through everybody's bodies. And the truckers, like the trucks that are driving to the hearts of the capital with their big trucks, like, trucks to me, like, when I dream about trucks, that's my light body. Vehicles in my dreams are always like your light body. So people that are jumping in these massive vehicles, driving for freedom into the heart of the governmental body of the land, like, dude,
Mm.
this is so symbolic. They're driving across the leylands, they're driving through all the territories with the band of unity for all people, for all voices, for all colors and creeds and classes and orientations. They're like, this is a completely inclusive
Mm-hmm.
movement.
That's
and
what I
and,
meant.
and it's so ironic that the media, the captured media, is saying that they're actually the polarity of what they claim to be. And that's the inverted matrix, just
Right.
calling itself out and saying, we're the inversion. And they're advertising for it now, and it's gonna
Yeah.
backfire.
Like CNN with Joe Rogan. I mean, I saw a clip.
More, oh my gosh.
Rogan's like, should I sue him? I mean, they're, you know,
What
I
do they
mean,
do? Like,
they're saying things that are just, you know, like.
it's
And
not
what
true.
about this dude? The energetic meaning or reality or whatever? Because if you see one thing, you know it's somewhere else. This dude in Australia, that pilot, and I remember seeing him like 6 or 8 months ago. And I'm quitting my job. I'm doing a video. I've been a Qantas pilot for 30 years, and I'm not going to take this jab. And yesterday, he's sitting in Parliament talking to the PM of Australia from a populist movement, 500,000 people in Canberra. Here's a guy who said, "I'm going to go
Oh, this gives me
and
chills.
I'm going to go to Canberra. Come with me if you want to." And 500,000 people have shown up, and there's still a week to go. I mean,
My Lord.
that's wild.
Oh, this is like the most exciting, greatest time to be alive. And I'm sure I've said that in many lifetimes, but I really mean it this time.
No, no, this one is special. I'm
Yeah,
excited. I've been
I'm
excited for
excited.
about 3 or 4 or 5 days. I don't know. I've been just been really excited. I know for me and a lot of people I talked to, it was October. You know, if you think of it, nine's completion, so September, and then October. Man, every month there was just a ride. There was like a 10 day period where
Gosh,
you're just like
yes.
on your own. You're on the cosmic roller coaster from heaven and hell, and you can be in one spot and think you're in the other spot, and vice versa. You know, and but yeah,
I
but
love
there's
it.
always on the other side, and the other side of, I guess, February so far. I'm just excited, and you're seeing some things, and the reason I'm excited is because they represent the pressure that could bring down one of the big dominoes. And once the big domino goes, because they're all connected, they're just going to, and how long is it going to take before people start turning over and becoming rats? You know, basically, like they say when a mafia guy turns, right? I mean, and just say, hey, look, here's what's going on. And that's what I say. If somebody were to get up that had prominence in terms of, global awareness, had some, at least on a strong regional level or in a country, and said, look, I've been part of this, and I just realized what's going on, and I don't care. I'm a soul. You can't kill me, and here's what's happening. I mean,
Right.
that would just be mind blowing.
It's already happening. When I first like woke up in a more deeper sense in 2019, because I had had like many levels of awakening my whole life. And I think that that is actually just your own consciousness coming deeper into your body. And you're literally witnessing the expansion of your consciousness in increments. So I had a really incremental shift in 2019 when I brought my daughter in. And I just was called to go make videos on YouTube. So I started just letting my soul speak. And one of the first things that I said that I had no idea that I was saying, like I was just flowing, right? Was we have infiltrated every space and place that you can imagine. We've got people everywhere. We've got
Yeah,
souls in every single place, and they'll pop off when they need to pop off. Don't fear. It looks bleak. It looks really, really bleak, but it's not.
yeah,
Don't believe what you see, believe what you feel inside, access that inside and trust that. And this the crazier it looks is all of that stuff spinning out because we've gone deep into the heart of the matter. All of us, we've all come together, all hands on deck. All hands on deck. And like it's so funny because like the word channeling, it's like, yeah, everything is a channel. All it's like Pocahontas. Everything is speaking. And what is it speaking through? Energy and vibration and morphogenetic fields. If
mm-hmm,
you understand how to speak that language by merging with anything in life, it
mm-hmm,
will all tell you a story about itself.
yeah,
You listen. It will just literally give you its information through the merge because
yeah,
energy is an energy. You can just, and then all of a sudden your mind starts translating it into language and science and mathematics and all that stuff and art and song and dance and
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
names.
yeah. I'm going to ask you about that card in a minute.
Oh, oh yeah.
No, I mentioned this on a previous show in the last couple of days. I watched this video of this dude who, at 18 years old, decided to go to the Congo and search for a dinosaur species that had been scientifically cited or whatever. Anyway, he ends up living with these pygmies, and he develops this relationship over 20 years. So he'll go there from time to time when he wants to check out. And he started talking about how they got up one morning to go hunting, and he talked about their entire day. He talked about how their life was so simple: no internet, no nothing. That in the morning, as the sun starts to come up, he noticed that some of them started farting, and everybody started laughing, and it was just this very childlike type of atmosphere. Then they got ready to go hunting, and they walk outside, and one of the tribesmen starts to whistle. like, I can't whistle, but like to whistle like a bird. The birds come out, they're present, they whistle back, they lead the tribe to the game, to what they're hunting.
Yeah.
And he just went on to talk about the whole day. And so they end up having their day. They go back, they cook, it's a celebration, they eat all the food, and then they dance by the fire at night. And this is their life. And it was all, well, the way he was talking about it, it was all in that, like that symphonic type of synchronicity or symbiosis with all aspects
Symbiosis.
in the middle of the Congo.
Yeah. That's the way. That's the way. That's the organic intelligence, innate capacity that all life was designed to experience.
Yeah.
And I have such a deep memory, if you want to call it that, to what the scenario that you just, to that exact thing. Like, I know that I've lived many, many times in that communion with life.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember as a child, with the awareness that I had, understanding in my own perspective that something felt deeply, deeply wrong about our life because of the level of disconnection. And I remembered my parents. I remembered having these incredible bonds with my parents from another lifetime that even now talking about it like brings me to
Wow.
tears.
Wow.
And actually in this lifetime, I get to have that relationship with my children. I get to share that level of love with them. And they tell me every day, numerous times a day, how much they love me. Just
Wow.
out of nowhere, they're like, Mom, I love you. And then even like before this, my son came up and he's like, can I just hug you? Like, and then we just sit and we hug, and I can feel the level of love that he has for me. And I remembered that love, and that was that's what woke me up at a young age, was where is that love? And it's not that my parents now don't love me, it's that they had not had anyone teach them that that was a possibility, or show them that, or express that.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if there must be some kind of correlation between the memory and merging. Like it came out in you. I mean, obviously everything's in us, but I mean like the fact that you had the memory, the frequency, the vibration of it, and how you've merged with it and you're now doing it in the physical with your children, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and speaking of that, you've got what, four?
Yeah.
Okay, so like what's that like? That must be so, like, I mean, I don't think you would have much of a problem being present for one thing, and then they must be coming out with just, you know, I would think.
So, like what Martin said before, our kids remind us that they are here to be human. They want to do what humans do. They don't want me going like, you have to, hands off, mom. Like, I guide as best as I can, but like if they want to go play video games, go play video games. You want to go on TikTok, go on TikTok, but bring your awareness with you. Bring your awareness in all the spaces and places that you are going into, and understand that what you're watching can program your mind. Understand that with an open mind, you're digesting content, so don't let that program who you are. So if they come to me, I will give them advice, or I'll say like, just be mindful of this. And I had kind of like, I don't know, coached or guided my kids, my two oldest kids, in a similar way that I'm doing with my younger kids. Like, I teach them about energy. I teach them about like even commercials, and how like advertising and subliminal messaging and everything. Like, I'm just like, here's your guidebook, go experience life. And then, so when they have an experience at school with their teacher, they understand that she may have limited capacities. She may have programs that are running within her that come from her childhood. She may have like everybody has. They're not like just like, oh, this teacher knows everything. They understand everybody is a person, and people have baggage.
Yeah.
And so like they have the opportunity to to have empathy and to not expect her to be perfect and to have forgiveness and to like troubleshoot in their own now moment with their peers and whatever they have. And they know that they can come to me with anything.
Now, what's the age difference? You got two older and two younger?
I have a 14-year-old, a
Okay.
almost 12-year-old, a 4-year-old who, and a 3-year-old. And my 4-year-old is going on like 60. And he's been telling me since he was really young that he's more like 400.
Is that right?
Yeah, that child has come in with full recall of certain, like some full levels of recall. And it was hard because he had some really traumatic memories from certain lifetimes. And I'm not sure if it's the most recent in his field, but he remembered some very graphic, war-like experiences that I had to actually walk him through at nighttime because he would cry at night, recalling this experience. And he actually said to me, like, I've come here to find a certain person. I've come here to find this certain person. And I wonder, like, is the person he's looking for one of us? Like, I wonder. And I sometimes almost think it might be me or my husband, but I don't like to answer those questions, though I let that stay within me. But it was really challenging to guide him through this
Wow.
without telling him, okay, just be quiet, like you're just like, okay, calm down. Like, what do I say to this child? So I just, um, I'll say things like love never ends and we're always connected, and that, like, just things like that. And mommy's here and I love you and you're safe and you can say whatever you feel like you need to say.
Do you think that, does it feel like he's holding on to those memories? I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean like, I think we all had like memories or sensitivities young, and then, at least in my generation, it seems, that we kind of like, they went to sleep or we forgot, that type of thing. Does it feel like it's there?
It's really interesting because he talks about this person as if they're in his life still now. Like, he just talks about them all the time. It's his grandfather. He talks about his grandfather, and he said the word grandfather before. We don't use that word. We use grandpa. So he was like my grandfather. And that started when he was like really young. Like, he could barely talk when he started talking about this being. And the reason why he talked about it is because my brother, he either sent me an image of something and it looked like an Indian Brahmin, like
Hmm.
this Indian man,
Hmm.
in full, like, in just like a traditional outfit. And he just looked at that and was like, that's my grandfather. And he started getting emotional and started going, he is the truth. He'd say things like, he is the truth. And I'd be like, okay,
Wow.
wow, this is fascinating.
So, do
So,
you think the grandfather is the one he's looking for?
mhm,
And maybe it might be you or your husband. Yeah.
possibly.
Wow.
Yeah, possibly.
Wow. That's wild. Considering just listening to what Franco was talking about. I know Franco. God, Franco. Franco's here.
I know he's here. He's here. Yeah.
Uh, Martin talking about Angela.
Yeah.
There seems to be a connection between the name Franco and Angelo too.
Oh,
They both end in an L.
yeah, there's so many
Uh,
interconnections.
yeah, I saw. I talk to Kimberly about once a week. Morgan and I did a session with her a while back. I know you picked up on it. I've seen other people picking up on it, and that's why we connected, was because you had the hair loss thing. I found out then that you got COVID about the same time him and I did,
Yeah.
within just a few days. And then I saw, in talking to you, like, the resonance of Kimberly, I think you were talking about. I mean, there's a lot of people I've seen refer to it. I put up some videos of Franco and Kimberly, and people were making comments. I mean, and I respect everybody's reality,
Hmm.
but there seems to be some type of connection, like a daisy chain, like a network. And I'm sure it applies in other circles. Maybe it's soul family kind of frequency, the congealment of like-minded vibrations. But like listening to you about your son, I mean, that to me, that says it all right there. Like that fits that mold.
Yeah. Some of it is what we call soul family, and then some of it is these really incredible agreements that were made, beings who are all collaborating, and each one have very unique capacities and gifts and abilities to utilize. So we're bonded. So there's some that are bonded through this agreement, accrue.
The
Accruement,
crew,
sorry.
the crew,
I'm
man,
getting all these
crew.
words.
I got
The
my
ship
crew,
again.
man.
Yeah. And then there are some that are actually, oh, my daughter's calling me.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Dude,
baby. Are you hungry? Can you ask Grandpa if he can get you something? Okay, I love you.
how old is that one? 3?
She's 3, yeah. She blows my mind, that one. Well, they
She
all do.
she speaks very clearly, very articulate.
She is very articulate, and she activated me so much coming through. Like after her, boom, like I had this deep awakening. I had like light language come through, and all my dragon experiences happened after her. She like speaks dragon. She talks about dragons. Both my 2 kids do. I had dreams about her and I as dragons curling around each other in the sky as
Wow.
ethereal energy, just like flying. It was the most, like, I didn't want to wake up. It was so fun, and there was thousands of us in the sky. And um and then another dream was this nebulous cloud structure in the sky that was pulsating in this plasmic energy. And inside this womb like cloud like structure were thousands of rainbow dragons that were going to be born. It was like this huge, uh, yeah,
Was this when
womb.
she was this when you were carrying her and delivering and birthing her?
Yes. Yeah,
Wow.
in that period.
Wow.
Yeah, all of it happened. I started having visions of dragons, and I started toning and singing light language. And I did it with her on my chest, walking around my table for hours and hours and hours a day. And she does it too. And she tones, and my son tones. But
You got to
like,
be kidding me.
I was told that,
Wow.
um, and when I say I was told, I literally hear audible talking within me.
So this is the
So
3 and the 4-year-old.
yeah, so she brought that technology in for
Hmm.
me to use for her and him because they wanted this. So I agreed, and they brought it through me. And then the deal was that I would just be doing this all day long.
Wow. I don't know if you caught what is her name? Patricia Coda Robles.
Okay.
She
Yep.
came on in December. Then she came on like 2 months ago, or maybe I got that back. She came on earlier in the year, and then a couple of months ago. So she was talking about how every child born from '94 onward was like uninhibited, like like they were different than us. They didn't
Definitely
carry
did.
what we carried, and I've just reflected on that for a while. And then I hear these stories, and I'm thinking, look, we're in this quantum field. Things are moving so fast. And so that would only make sense that the latest wave of kids, their impact is going to be far greater than because it's more in frequency with what we're stepping into, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, you got a 3 and a 4-year-old that are toning and doing light language and talking about dragons. I mean, and then you got Angelo who's talking about the sun's coming down and crushing the spider. Mary Rodwell's work. She's coming on again, I think next week or the week after. And she talks about these kids that are like, 9 years old. Hey, I'm from a blue planet. I'm here to build some new technology. I mean, it's happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's and these next wave of souls, it's really fascinating to witness that like they're coming up against the baggage of an aeon, like the baggage and the density of all of this, like, for lack of a better word, sort of corrupted, distorted data. And like and a lot of them just don't digest it in. They don't take it personally.
Yeah,
They literally just deal with it on the fly and correct it like that. And you're just like,
yeah,
how did you just do that? How did you just, like, the levels of forgiveness, the level of empathy, the level of maturity, and they're like these little, like, part of them is so immature because they can still access the human's ability to just play and all and whatever, but
yeah.
then all of a sudden, like, this wisdom comes out, or this, again, just ability to, like, not take it personal, which is a technology. It is
Yes.
a maturity. It is an upgrade to not take it so deeply in and let it fracture all of your nervous system. They have the they have the new updates
Yeah.
to not
That's like a physical
recreate
character.
the,
Yeah, that's like or a human characteristic of what Patricia was talking about. Like the qualities, the attributes. They don't have the conditioning, obviously. Even if I look at my kids, I never thought of this, right? But like my 19 and 20-year-old, the two little ones, they don't take things personal. One of them did for a while, but a lot of programming kind of came into alignment. I could see that in her. But certainly the youngest one, the 19-year-old, like it's just weird. It's like water on a duck's back.
yeah, and you're like,
They just keep going.
yeah, it's really beautiful. So, this, like, next world that's going to be built within the framework that we're in now, like, it's not going to go the way the old tyrannical energy thinks it's going to go. Like, it's way beyond their scope of creativity.
Yeah.
It's way beyond their scope of creativity. They can never outcreate the level of creativity and ingenuity that these souls that have come through have now. It's not like, it's just laughable.
Well, that's been the whole shell game. I mean, you can talk about the archons, whatever, however you want to, whatever narrative you want to attach to, which is basically a presentation of a distorted reality that's accepted by the creators.
And then recreated,
Right. Well,
unbeknownst to
that's
them.
perpetual. Yeah, like the inverted matrix kind of template. Let's just say, but yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We've already seen the transformational effects of our own personal experience, and sometimes we forget that. Like, why are we here? Why am I homeless? Why am I this or why am I that? You got people that are selling everything, getting a caravan and driving around. They don't know how they're going to make money. They don't know how they're going to do it. They just know they got to do it. I mean, there's all this crazy stuff going on. In parallel, you have these children coming in waves and waves and waves who are impervious and haven't been conditioned. And I just think their impact, because you know how everything's always upside down? Who would think, however that looks, that 3, 4, 5, 6 years old? I mean, think about the collective impact that group has on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
especially given the last 2 years, where so many things energetically, no matter who you are, have had to been let go and accepted and worked out and integrated. I just picture like families in a house where the father, I mean, I was that father, worked 9 years, 5 days a week on planes, come home. I wasn't present. And then you're stuck at home with COVID and your kids are pulling on your pant legs and you become a dad. I mean, these are powerful, subtle, physical representations of a massive energetic impact that these young people are having. And I just want to talk about them and talk to them more and more and more because I think people need to be exposed to it.
Oh yeah. Martin said something about like the past and the present and the future merging or something.
Hmm.
And again, like, that's the toroidal energy. That's the completion of the cycle coming through, and that's the energy coming around and then building upon itself and improving upon itself.
Yeah.
And I keep getting this reference of like old, like the old, no, it's so hard. The ancient wisdom, like, oh, there's so many energies that are being sewn into energies that are a dichotomy. So like a young energy and an old energy coming together to make a hybrid energy. So that's why when I try to talk about old, like there's like old as an outdated, but then there's old as an ancient, tried, tested, true, timeless, you
Yeah.
know? So it's
Yeah.
like which version of that are you talking about here? So I'm talking about tried, tested, true, timeless, coming back through as the new hybrid children
Yeah.
that are just carefree, like masters of their environment. But then there's something that consciousness is sewing together. Like, and I keep getting the reference of Peter Pan sewing his shadow together. There are aspects of creation that are being sewn and woven together to
Yeah.
create something new. And
Yeah.
that's what the universe is always doing.
Remix.
Totally remixing. And there has been like a reluctant aspect that has not wanted to integrate for like a really long time, but like it's getting pulled through.
Well, yeah. So, like, okay, so I can relate to you, and I think a lot of other people can, in terms of our evolution with the, let's just say, the global stage and the programming, the powerless powers that be, whatever you want to call it, right? And like, I've seen your evolution, I've seen my own evolution, and now it's almost like, in just recently, the dust, every now and then the dust settles a little bit and we can look around a little bit before the next, comes in.
Yeah.
But like my feel for what's happening, like on a collective scale, even all inclusive, is that I know there must be some serious anger, resentment, so on, so on, so on. But I feel like there's this part of the grid, at least, is coming to terms with all players in the game, right? And I always go back to Joe Biden and I'm not political, and I watch these videos where he's absolutely pissing himself, and it's sad. It's like your grandfather that has dementia. But I look at it and I stare at it for a while, and I go, God, that's a valiant soul. I mean, he's got to be having a hard time somewhere in his life because he's got to know he's not there. Either that or he's drugged or something. I don't know. But still, even to be able to watch it and see the almost satirical level of it, and you're just going, if that's happening, what's happening on the other end of the spectrum? Be it these kids, be it higher sensitivities, the dissolution of time and space. I'm really excited about this year. And really, I'm very excited about something's got to go down. I'm not saying it's the event, but if there is one. But February 22nd, 2022. 2022.
Oh, it's 144 right now as you said that.
See, there you go. Something's got to be happening on or about that day that's going to be.
We were given that date, or that was a date that came through in 2016, like those numbers. And that was like a really huge part of, again, the journey, the path of my own awakening. And many people have talked about 222 and like, as a trigger number. Like there's something about that goes boof. Like you're like, wait, what does that mean? I got to search a little bit. Like a catalyst. And there was a message that I was given around that time about this great spiral and the main vein, and that there were these frays off of the main vein that were tangents of energy, tangents that were drawing energy away from the main vein, and that we were coming in to pull those frays back into the main vein, back into the main storyline. Yeah, we were weaving them through and closing up those chapters. So
like replicating the individual's distractions and addictions and stuff like that, like replicating that at a collective level. These tangents are finite paths like being on your phone all the time,
Totally. They're dead
or
ends.
shopping, or sex, or whatever it is that immediate but temporary gratification. Like it's like the programs of distraction are falling in kind of a natural way. We can obviously, because we've all been there. Like it's kind of a natural thing, and I don't know. For me, since July, there's been this constant daily mantra. It's gotten a lot easier now. It doesn't come around as much. Things come up. It's self-judgment. I'm like, no judgment, no judgment, or forgive myself, forgive myself. Like there's something about these programs of distraction falling away that requires my acceptance of myself, my journey, its place in my life. Just is no different than looking at some of these global leaders that are part of whatever that antagonistic energy is.
Yeah,
Just accepting that.
global catalysts, global mirrors of something,
Mm.
like they're not our ultimate mirror, but they're definitely mirrors and representatives of something. And we have to figure out
Yeah.
together collectively, what are they representing for us? And like, are we done with it? And how do we become done with it? We say we're done with it, but like, and then what steps do we need to go together?
Yeah.
Well, we need to go together, what do we need to unify, and how do we need to collect ourselves as a collective in recognition of our authority, and then begin to implement that without losing our integrity and without stooping to any levels of, which is something I really like about the movement that you see happening in Canada and all the other places in the world. They're like, we're going to maintain our integrity and we're going to be peaceful because we
Yeah.
are peaceful. We're
Yeah.
peaceful people that were going about our lives that got blindsided. And now we're here saying enough's enough, because we're if it wasn't like, it's fascinating because I'm hearing people say, like, if it wasn't for my kids, I'd probably just keep going along with this. But I have children, I have
Yeah.
grandkids,
Yeah.
and this is their future now you're effing with. So,
Yeah.
but that's a big collective mirror about, like, when people say that's your future that you're now messing with, it's like, what's the quality of the present, and what energy are we collectively feeding into in the present moment to create the future? And it starts to like beg the question about what's the purpose of life, and like, what are we all creating, and where is our collective energy going? And like, we need more discussion about this stuff, and we need more educators that are teaching about reality creation mechanics in school, like my friend Z, who I freaking love so much. This girl, and I met her through you, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was either before or after me the first time I came on Soulogy. It was December 13th, 2019.
Wow.
And I saw her and I was like, that's why I came on that day, was so that I would see this girl, and more things. But she was a major piece to line up for me in that experience. And her capacity to teach creation mechanics and how to embody them in an applicable, scientific and like logical, but then also spiritual. Like, it's a really beautiful melding of the education that is like, take this, encapsulate it, pass it on, teach everyone how to create with their own pillar of energy that comes through them. We're all batteries of consciousness and creators of reality in our own right and our own point in existence.
That's
so
right.
How do you take responsibility for that and thread that through?
Yeah, and it's very much a non or an atypical kind of initiative. These initiatives, this sacred wisdom,
to be religious,
like
or
the sacred
under
wisdom.
any banner.
That's right. Yeah, it's natural.
Free
so like
for
this sacred wisdom that people pull in their own piece of the pie, their purpose, right, or their one of their whatever.
Natural.
Like, again, I watch Robert Sepper a lot. I mention him almost on every show, but he's putting out some incredible stuff, this anthropologist, especially recently. And in one of his recent videos, he talked about having one, because he's had videos pulled, but his videos are not, this is a perfect example. He had a video pulled off YouTube that was about monatomic gold.
Ooh.
Now, I've watched enough of his stuff, and I don't remember that particular video in detail. But the whole thing is there's, I know just in something, it was a video I just cited. Monatomic gold isn't just about the physical, construction of something. It's about the alchemical, energetic, etheric type of thing that you're talking about. It's exactly what you're talking about. So I understood that when he was talking about this happening about the monatomic gold video, it was removed because of the information,
Mhm.
right?
And the impact it could have
Yeah.
with that technology. And this type of like creation mechanics where you're literally weaving between like quantum energy, etherical energy, and you're weaving that in through the chemistry of your body and the mechanisms of your organic technology.
Hmm.
It's science. It's
Yes.
literally life science. It's reality science and creational science. And it helps you unlock the potential of your your dichotomy of human and spirit
Yeah.
made
This is
manifest.
this is what the alchemists were doing in the 1600s and the 1500s. That whole thing that I was just talking about has to do, in some way or another, figurative or literal. I'm not the expert of turning blood to gold,
Mm.
right? And there's been, okay, so how much of this is alignment? How much of this is awareness becoming alignment, one and the same thing? Like, there are people experiencing and have been experiencing in meditation, in dimension, and otherwise, this merging or receiving of golden liquid, golden light. I mean, I think there's something about the information that's coming out that is just basically showing us what's going on. Okay. And this is going to happen. This is happening. It's bigger than all of us.
Way
And
bigger.
and you know what I mean. And so the ease and grace comes from accepting everything. And we can talk about this, but there's something about that. Now, we recently had an experience with a friend of ours, a beloved sister of ours. It was a session, and everybody got the same thing. We went to the New Earth grid, and it was the same thing. It looked a little different, but it was this, for me. It was this gold liquid, literally feeling my body. It was
Mm-hmm.
from the root up, and
Mm-hmm.
Morgan experienced it another way. Our friend experienced it another way. But so there's something to be said for the golden age,
The
gold.
golden light.
Yeah, the golden
Mm-hmm.
light. Yeah, this
Yeah.
that's coming online. I told you
Mm-hmm.
about my experience with Franco during that period with Kimberly. There was two or three other people. Everything just had happened sequentaneously,
Yeah.
and so I'm in there. I don't know if I told you. I think I told you this, but I'm in there, and I was starting to write something, and then my ego came in and was like, "No, who do you think you are?" And then my light turned on with a golden light all by itself,
Yeah.
right? And it was, and I knew immediately it was Franco. And that's just my own reality.
Oh.
That's my own reality. Maybe it was an aspect of me. I think it's for whatever. Who cares? But then it happened again. But it's a
Yeah.
golden light, and I remember going back to when I, reawoke in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. I had golden light experiences many times.
Me
Vision,
too. That's why I wore this shirt today, actually, because it's got like a little bit of gold and it's like
mm,
all the branches all connecting and interweaving.
tree of life.
Tree of life. And just recently, I had a golden light moment where I just felt like almost like it almost reminds me of like my water breaking with my daughter. It's so strange, but it's like all of a sudden there's like hot, warm liquid like running, like just like on your skin. You can feel that. It's almost like a water bed or like a hot tub. I had that bursting feeling at the base of my spine, and the heat just rose in me, and it was just like going all over me. And then I felt like I turned into a flashlight. I could almost see, I felt like I could see this golden light glowing, and I felt it coming out my eyes, and I was kind of just like, am I like, I felt luminescent. And then that was actually in the beginning of, was it the beginning of January? Man, time, like I don't even know. Like I guess it's February already. Today is a really sacred day. 2 2 2 2 and then 8, but it's just like if you can break those all down into twos, or it's
Today's the
8
8th.
8.
So
Yeah.
that's what? 2 8 2022. Yeah.
2 4 6 8, so it's 8 8, and then you put those together and then you'll get another 8. So I was entertaining myself with that earlier, looking at those numbers. um yeah, it's incredible when the light comes on and it just comes on. So there are these like natural internal mechanisms, and you could say they're catalyzed by the light that we're getting from our sun, as well. uh, I don't want to go too deeply into this, but my other dear sister, Kate, she's been on your show before, Venus. She
Oh yeah. Yeah.
um, did a quantum hypnosis on me before, and
Mm-hmm.
I had an incredibly wild vision out in the universe, and I saw many different um, black hole and white hole clusters of like of universal galaxy systems, all separated by black energy, but then all of a sudden golden synapses were just starting to connect. Like it was almost like someone just flipped a switch, and there was these golden roots just starting to grow in between all of these black hole white hole realities. And when I say black hole white hole, like when you go through the black hole, you're in the duality. When you go through the white hole, you're in the unity, and the unity feeds the duality, and the duality feeds the unity, because the information is exchanging between the two. And the unity aspect receives the dualistic information and then sends them information. But it's like one part stays in oneness while the other part of them goes and experiences polarity and duality and learns from it. So it was like this like reality feedback system
It's
that I
that.
was
Yeah.
witnessing.
It's
But it
the
was big. It was
it's
really big.
it's the pattern of the merging again.
But
It's
I
the pattern.
do want to read this card. I don't know how much time
Yeah.
we have. I do
No,
want
we
to
got
read
plenty.
this card.
We got plenty of time.
Okay.
Is that the water tiger? I understand this is the year of the water tiger. That's what I was
It
going to ask you.
is, and I haven't looked up anything about that yet. I've kind of been going so like blind for a little bit. Oh,
Okay.
which reminds me of what Martin was saying about having that dark experience, going into the depth, and then merging with that Mayat energy.
Right.
So I don't know when that happened to him, but like when I had my like really, really dark depth moment where I had to go into the pits of myself and face like terror itself. Um, Over and over and over again, I saw the image of a blindfolded goddess with a sword and with the balance. And when I looked her up after, that's justice. That is justice, which is
Okay.
also who Mayat represents. So
That's
it is,
Mayat. Okay.
so this is the goddess energy of justice, of balance, and divine order. And so for myself, I had to let go of all my tools, and I had to just fully trust that I wasn't going to be annihilated by moving into the level of terror that I had to face. And I had to face like the darkest parts of myself, or whatever, or my capacity, the darkest parts of my capacity, and then still believe in hope, or still have the light on.
Right. Right.
I had to go to the bottom of it. I had to get to the bottom of it through experiencing that energy. And again, when I share this, I don't recommend anyone do that unless they're guided to, because I was guided to. I did, just because of the relationship that I have with my
Mm-hmm.
experience in my universe.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it was wild to me hearing that Martin had said that experience, and I had a very similar experience with the goddess, with the energy of justice, and that message of honesty, of like absolute honesty, absolute truth, absolute justice was just ringing its bell inside of me. And it's like, you have to be absolutely honest
Yeah.
with yourself, with all your relations, Kandice, always.
With
Even be honest
yourself.
when you're not. Like, we are seeing you inside out of every single crevice. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, The
It's
eyes are
you.
everywhere. The light is on. You
They're
see it
your
all.
eyes. They're your
Yeah,
eyes.
exactly. It's just
It
me.
it really is a it's an integrity issue at a personal level that
Totally.
if nurtured and fortified, and consciously, in a conscious state of awareness, it just rolls right over into your external interactions. But I mean, it's integrity to the nth degree, like to
Yeah.
the nth
Next
degree,
level.
in the big things, in the small things.
Yeah.
I used to call it the brutal honesty of the soul when I woke up,
Yeah.
because that in that place that you're talking about, which I refer to as the bowels of the soul,
Yeah.
because that's what, and speaking on that, so like it feels like something really happened in October, ran right in through right now. February by from a numerology standpoint or numbers, to me, I don't know about everybody else, but it looks like the biggest month of the year, and if because of the numbers, the two twos, it's a 2 2 2 year. I mean two. I mean everything's a two, but it feels like I know we've gone through a lot of initiations and we've been prepared many many times, but this one feels like it's about to blow wide open. And I go
Yeah.
back to what Franco said, and only as a metaphoric kind of analogy, kind of example, that by the end of 2023, and he would be the first to tell you that projections can change because
Yep.
time changes, but that we would be ruled by councils. The energy of
Mm.
that, not the story, the energy of that, like, and I don't know, this excitement that I'm feeling. I know it can't just be a personal thing. There's something, at least at a minimum to me, the potential of bursting the bubble is greater than it's ever been.
Hmm. Yeah, I was just saying that. I was just speaking to my sister, Carrie, before we were on here, and she's my twin, like another me. Like it's so wild. But
Carrie Yvonne.
yeah, we finish each other's sentences, and like I can hear her in my head when she's like before she says what she says. I'll hear it,
Mm.
I'll see it. Like we're in tune, intertwined. But we were talking about this bubble bursting, and we both feel like we're going to explode. Like we both call each other just laughing every day. We're like, are you feeling this? Can you feel this? Okay, it's not just me. And then we'll just talk about what the energies feel like every day. And every day it's just like the crescendo. And I'm like, I feel like, is the bomb gonna blow up or is the bubble gonna burst? Like, is it something that's gonna cause trauma and destruction, or is it something that's gonna cause release and relief? And that is up to us. And that is up
Yeah,
to us working
yeah,
together and raising awareness about the information that's gonna come through. And how can we let it come through without it damaging us? And and like now I'm hearing like damage control, collateral damage, and like there's aspects of our society that have such wounding. And I'm speaking to our indigenous people, our
mm.
indigenous family members that have, and there's lots of aspects of humanity. Like we've all been through it all. And it's hard to say to somebody like, oh my gosh, I don't even know, should I go here? No, I
Go
don't
for
think
it.
I'll
Oh, whatever you want to do.
well, it's like we've all been all the different characters, okay? Like we've all
Oh yeah,
been all the different so-called races, and like I have major memories of being um of colonization,
oh yeah,
of going through the process of colonization and being on the side of the history that was victimized or whatever, like I've been through it all. So I have that pain in me with regards to that. And there's a huge indigenous community, especially in Canada here, and I'm sure everywhere. Please, I'm not speaking for everything, just I'm aware of my own environment and the people and the lineage that's in this Canadian body here. And I know there's a lot of people that are really hurting right now because they're seeing all of the people rising up against the tyranny for freedom to drop the mandates. And I know they're really hurting and saying, where were you guys for us when we needed clean water? Like we don't even have clean water in our land, like the land that we've been given. Thanks guys for giving us this little corner here, and our, we can't even. So I know that there's a lot of pain in that regard. I feel that so deeply, and I have the ultimate hope and trust that, like in my head, I'm like, well, once this freedom movement, once this freedom convoy flies through this avenue, there's going to be no rock left unturned. Like, I want all of the people to be unified, and I want everyone to have clean water, and I want everyone to have good education and safe home, and like, good programs for the children. Like, it just really invokes in me this next wave of humanitarian energy that could literally go through the planet, and like, how can we, like the natural organic template and design of the universe, better everything? How can we just go through it and improve upon everything and open up and equalize, and at the heart of that would be free for all, improvement and betterment and sustainability. The core cannot be corrupted. And right now in our system, the core is corrupt. And now I'm hearing the core will erupt, and we will erect from the true core, erection, erecting from the true core of consciousness, and then consciously creating from that core
Yeah.
a
That's a
new
good flow.
humanity, a renewed humanity.
The what did you say? The core, use two words.
Oh,
Explodes?
core eruption.
Eruption. That's the birth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
we've had these communities for, let's just say, 10 years. And there's been a lot of dialogue. And beneath the dialogue, I think there was a level of confidence individually that thereby made the collective consciousness or the collective confidence level or lack thereof. When's the last time you said, get me out of here? When's the last time, I said, get me out of here? When's the last time I thought about, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is there is a spiritual confidence now that I'm seeing in the community, and I'm sure in other places in the world it's got to be happening, of basically agreeing, accepting, fully owning everything. The doubts are diminishing, and it's palpable.
Yeah.
There's something going on as we head into March. Not that we've still got a long way to go here, because this is a massive month, but I just feel, I know it's the northern hemisphere, it's spring, and in the southern hemisphere it's not. It'll be winter, but still, to me it feels like a spring. It feels like a rebirth. It feels
Oh
like
my gosh,
like
totally.
and it feels like the level of awareness, like talking to different practitioners, like talking to Hone Edmonds yesterday, the Maori brother, taking people into the forest, telling us that I got these people that have never even been camping before, and they're going 2 weeks in the forest, no cell phone. They're asking him, so what's going on with this crowd that you call light workers, or people, I see people say star seeds, and they're like over here, like, what's going on with these people? Like, so there's something really happening. And I think that this whole experience of COVID and its related legs of the spider, whatever you want to call it, have really served us extremely well.
Oh yeah.
It
It,
really has. I mean,
it was the
it's
kick in the butt that the experience needed. And like all the different levels of our incredible world, um, levels, like factions, sections, sectors, whatever you want to call it, like during this situation, so many people of diverse groups reached out to one another, like-minded yet very different, like, so doctors from all around the world that have come from many different cultures and whatever, all started bringing their brilliance together. Do you see what's happening? Like bringing their first real world on the ground experience and troubleshooting. So we're having synapses just like the earth's a brain. It's like all of these wires, like people are like reaching to the next continent to find
Yeah.
someone with a sound mind to resound. So we're having these resounding correspondences that would have never happened before.
That's
We're
right.
having the most genius, integral people reaching out to find more genius, brave, integral people to create collaborations.
Yeah.
Now all eyes and all awareness is on all of the things that we need to troubleshoot. The light is on and people are like, whoa, we need to start paying attention to where our reality is going. Who's driving this train? Like in every single walk of life, through all governmental bodies, through all the different education reformation that's coming, like like this is a huge shift that's happening in every single
Sector.
level. Yeah, every
Yeah.
sector.
See, that's what
And
I think too. I'm like, okay, so let's say you got the United States government and there's a 500,000 people that are employed by them. You can't tell me that they're all asleep. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't tell me that. In the Vatican, that might be an
yeah,
exception. There might be a lot of
yeah.
infiltration there. I had a memory one time, and it was about Atlantis. It was about when the occurrence happened, when let's just say the patriarchal force came in and upset the apple cart. It was in that moment, right? But there's a difference because in that in that moment, in that memory, there was a ground force, aggressive ground force with a physicality that was unexpected and came in with a plan,
Wednesday.
let's just say. To me, that's the difference today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, first of all, we're the ones bringing in the catalytic force. They're what was there. So the
Mm-hmm.
roles are reversed. There's an
That's right.
inverse, and I don't see, because if you take all the soldiers and policemen in the world, all the enforcement represented by, let's just say that's 500 million people, you can't tell me that they're all asleep. You can't
No.
tell me that they don't have a percentage that somewhat follows the natural, makeup of any sector, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's something going on there. And I think a lot about the conversation I had with David Icke, and one of the conversations, and he said, if you think about it, you could fit all the people of that frequency. He's speaking of, like, say, the 13 families, whatever. You could fit them in a room.
Mm-hmm.
They're that small, in terms of like human incarnated bodies, right?
Right.
I just feel like that energetically, that eruptions occurred.
Yeah.
Like that thing, that icon Mayat, are just the symbol itself of the feminine holding a sword, the balance.
Yes.
Like that's just
Was driven home
that
and
sends
seeing that
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 says
was
it
sent.
all.
Yeah, that light was sent into the bowels and
Yeah,
many of us went with it. Like
yeah,
I didn't feel like I had a choice.
yeah.
I felt like I literally was thrown in, but I'm sure I did have a choice on the other levels, on the greater levels. But like I was really happy on the ship that I was on, and I was like, this is great. Like I really like what I'm creating right now, and I really like what I'm doing right now. And it really felt like a flop, and it was rough. And but I'm really thankful that um, of all the gold and everything that's coming out of that experience now. And I really feel more grounded in a applicable, relatable sense to all the people that are on varying degrees and dimensions that are living in what some people call the real world. But it's like, that's also not real, but that's a bubble that's going to burst. But there's a lot of people in this so-called real world that are rooted into, not, it's not a real world. Like it's like based on agreements that are outdated, et cetera, right? But like a lot of our job is to reach those souls and to collaborate and bring through and be the bridge for those. So some people have to go into different sector
That's right.
segments to be the voice for a certain group. And it's like, it's the chain. So it's like, which chain of command are you? And they're all relevant, and each one of us is essential. So be obedient to your higher self, or whatever, what your truest self, your truest voice, your core essence. Where does that, and I'm seeing a reference to core choir, where does that put you in the choir? Go hold, find your note, hold it, go and sing, and it'll be relevant for you where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are there to do certain things and some people are there to do other things.
And stop with the judgment, because,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking to you, but it's like some people literally judge when someone goes and does a certain duty. I'm shown many times in my dreams that I'm a janitor and I need to go and clean up the shit. That's
Right.
me. I'm the
Right.
guy. I'm the one that will go and say, I'll go into the part that grosses people out. I have a strong stomach. I'll go do that. I'll go deal with that. And I'll go hold the person's hand that is in that condition. And I don't feel bad, and I don't feel like they're less. I always feel like it's an honor that I'm the one that gets to be with them in their most vulnerable state. Because when I'm in my most vulnerable state, I look who's around with me. And I see, like, so it's an honor to be with someone in that state. They look at you and they're like, I'm honored to be with you, and you're looking at them and saying, like, I'm so honored that I'm with you. So
Yeah.
it's reciprocity.
I think there's,
you
yeah, I think there's there's expanded awareness brings expanded definitions to concepts, words, and so on.
Totally.
Judgment's another one that I think has
I know
been.
it's a funky word.
Well, I think it's been going away though.
Outrage.
Hey, look, I have a judgment mantra every day. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
talk about that since this past summer. But to me, judgment is symptomatic of a trigger, a trigger
Yeah.
that will,
Non-acceptance.
well, yeah, it will come up now or it will come up later, but in time it will come up. So it's and a trigger to me, same situation. A trigger is a symptom of a merge that can occur now or sometime down the road.
Absolutely.
And
For
so,
sure.
so it's the same type of thing. Like one signifies the next, or at least the opportunity for the next. But one thing's certain, and then very few certainties, very few absolutes, and that is it's coming. It could be this life, it could be tomorrow, it could be in the next
Yeah.
life, but it's coming because that is the metaphor of you when you were talking about going down into the bowels of the soul. To me, it's like I know it because we've all done it, right? Even beyond this lifetime, you're just grabbing Mother Universe's hand like a little kid, and you're going. She's like the dark Holy Mary Poppins, man, and you're just going down into the bowels, and she's basically saying, "You want to grow?
Yeah.
This
You
is
gotta
what we
go.
do. This is
Yeah.
this is me in my most purest, primordial, raw form, and I don't even know what you're going to birth, but I'm the component that I'm like the portal. I'm like the yoni, basically.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I mean,
That's
this is
beautiful.
it. This is so. I think there's been a lot of deep dives, and I think the charge that we get or that we don't get has changed when it comes to self-judgment, therefore judgment of others, triggers. And that's why I made the comment and kind of asked a question about how has your relationship been, and we'll just use from a human perspective, the bullshit, the story, the distortion, the program. I've watched it change in myself and you and others. There's still stuff being worked out because it's a never-ending story.
Totally.
But I've seen you even come out publicly and say, "Hey, I'm in so many words. I'm shifting. I'm here. I'm going here, and I'm still working on it." You know what I mean? Like, how has that been for you? Have you had any type of method that's worked for you? Is it just kind of a peace comes when it comes kind of deal? I mean, you know what I mean? Because I mean, there's stuff that's gone on, obviously, that's pissed all of us off, and we could just go right down the list: human trafficking, whatever. But how do you deal with
Right.
that? How do you deal with that?
Oh, well, I'll answer that and then I'll read a poem that I wrote about this.
All
But it's
right.
like acceptance is like really important in my experience. And if I'm not accepting something, then I feel like I get drawn into it and it magnetizes, uh, manifests for me. When I was really young, I started doing that really, like really powerfully, magnetizing things that I could not accept in my reality. And my gosh, it started really young actually. With regards to nightmares and attacks and entities and lots of
Right.
disturbance, like man, I had it rough. And I'm thankful for that because it really, really built me into a very resilient being that is really observant. Like I'm just constantly observing and shifting my perspective. Like I see something like a target in the center and I literally like rope myself to it and then I jump around 360 degrees and then I'll do it like a bunch of times, like getting all the perspectives of it. And then I like go through it, absorb it, accept it, and then I move on.
Right.
And then like there's certain things that I can't move on from, or like it's still an ongoing evolution that I'll work on as my consciousness is growing. So it'll come back to me in another way and then I'll work with it again and it'll come back to me in another way. Every time I shift my consciousness, I grow and I expand. Then I can have that other peripheral or perspective.
Yeah. It's a higher. It's a more expansive vantage point. You can see more, and
Yeah.
I think that's where maybe where the break, because I mean everything is happening. It's we're aligning, we're witnessing it, we're experiencing it, we're seeing it in ourselves, we see it in others. You can see the absolute of the unimpeded force of the universe in its cyclical manner. You know, it's not going to change anything. What's going to happen is going to happen to us in a sense, but there's also that other thing going on, that macro micro paradoxical zero point field. So it's multidimensionality, wide open in the physical, coming in teaspoon mouthfuls, and like you said earlier, in a way that we can handle it without frying. My attitude
Mm,
is, hey, we came this
yeah.
far. I don't want to go anywhere. I mean, I know I've had a
I
bad
don't
day
want to
here
go
and there.
anywhere.
I want to see this thing go down.
Yeah.
I want to, and I believe it can happen instantly. I really do.
So another thing is like, what is your focal point? And then like, what is your soul's objective? And whatever you're focusing on, your soul is so creative and the universe that is constantly like reorganizing itself around what your soul's needs are. Like you can extract from whatever your focal point is. So if it is child trafficking, if that is something that is like really calling to your soul to be involved in, like your soul can extract a lot of information and experiences and growth and connectivity and like all these different things from that subject matter. Like some people become obsessed with certain subject matter and that is their teaching point, that
That's
is
right.
their focal point, and they
Yeah.
will interact and they will network with people who are attracted to that same focal point. So that's what I mean by no judgment, because some people will be like, oh, they like to play in that. No, yeah, they like to play in that. There are different playgrounds within playgrounds within
That's
playgrounds in
right.
this whole intricate, sophisticated, fascinating reality. So if that's not your jam, that's not your jam. And that's what we just have to recognize. Okay, that's not my jam. You're
Yeah.
jamming over there. Those are your music people that you're playing with. I'm going to go play over here. And then sometimes we come together and we have this in common. And then sometimes those things overlap. So we're learning about all these different overlaps. But ultimately, for myself, I've recognized that the inner teacher there's some sort of like this inner teacher or inner outer teacher or that's constantly pulling me along. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm the witness. Sometimes I feel like I'm the experiencer. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
popping out from like first person, second, third, like, I don't know, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just constantly darting out and shifting around in my reality. So sometimes it feels to me like I'm going boo, 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 like I'm expansive and then I'm contracting and then I'm expansive. And I'm
Yeah.
like, just like constantly popping in and out of of perspectives and varying frequencies, and I like that because I
Yeah.
learn a lot from it. I
Yeah.
don't need to sit in my most expansive self all day long because then I might alienate my kids. They might feel really weird if I'm just my super most expansive self all day long. They even tell me like, tone it down, mom, like
Yeah.
with the energy,
Get
like
back in your body.
yeah, like come on,
Get
mom,
back in
like
your body,
we're
right?
here to be human.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes even like with Reiki energy, like I used to do Reiki on my kids, they have so much energy, they don't want mine. They'll be
Right.
like, oh my God, like I'm gonna pop out of my body, like whoa. But if they're sick, they'll grab my hand and put it
Yeah.
on me and they'll be like,
Yeah.
juice me up, mom. But
And
my
vice
my
versa.
my son,
And
who's
vice versa.
4, I was meditating on my chair and he came and sat on me right on top and started meditating with me, put his hands on my hands, and I've never felt something so hot in my life. It just went like inferno.
Wow.
And I was
Four
like,
4 years old. 4 years old.
incredible. And I was like, that's you, buddy. He was asking me, why is it so hot, mommy? I'm like, that's you, hon. So then, and then he took his hands and started going like this and playing with the energy. And I was like, nobody needs to tell you
Right.
how
Right.
to do that.
Right.
You are that. So, and you can, I've been practicing for however many years, and you just are like instant inferno energy.
Another physical characteristic of what what's happening. We had a lady on last week, and I can't remember who she is, but she was a school teacher
Oh, I think
in part, right? And she was talking
yeah.
about how I didn't even ask her. She brought it up, and she was like, "These kids that she's working with, elementary school level, they just have this thing where like hey, go do this. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like this built-in thing where they're just not going to do something that it's
That
kind of
doesn't
like it
align.
reminds me of you putting your hands on your kids and they're saying, hey, I'm
I got
cool.
my own energy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just
Keep it
it's
to
not
yourself.
it's not necessary. Thank you very much. But God, there was something else I was going to mention to you before we get out of here. Oh, creativity. Like I'm feeling this pull and I'm seeing it in other people. Like this pool of creativity, which is somehow or another connected with collaboration, but certainly everything happens on the individual level. And it's this space of creating something that isn't copying anything. It carries all the parts. I just picture like a sphere, like in the body, like a cell, and then something attaches and something. And these are the things that we're pulling back. So it's all this data, this akashic, and then you get into that in the sequentaneous moment, the spontaneous, and you just do it, right? And there's so many different ways that's coming out. Some of it can just strictly be visual.
Totally.
It could be
Yeah.
a reading. It could be so many different things. And so I've always known from like Soulogy the name was given in 2012, and then 2 years later I was given Soulogy One Studios. Same day, 2 years later, and I always understood that there was a creative aspect that wasn't separate from, let's say, mainline Soulogy platform, but it was a complement that was both old and new. And the only word I could think of is remix. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess I would add like collaboration and creativity, intuition, imagination. And I think that's coming out. And what my own personal understanding is, and I'm not saying this is the gospel truth, but for everybody, is that these creations because they're vibrational and because they take in so many frequencies that are in alignment from the awareness of the individuals and the ensemble, they're full of tremendous code. And I see that same energy in the spirit of a child, and we're all children. But yeah, so, and I know you've done a lot of stuff. I played your stuff on remixes, very original stuff. And so I just want to kind of like, I got one of your things off SoundCloud and just kind of give it a play. It's like 4 minutes long. You're okay with that? We
Yeah.
can do that. Okay. So just want to share this because I think these are the types of expressions, and the more people see them and hear them, the more that they're going to be, you know, the more they're going to have the push, or they're going to listen to the nudge that they're getting, just like when they do when they come on this show. So
Yeah.
let me just figure out what's going on here. Hang on. Okay,
Yeah. There's a lot of creative energy that wants to be birthed through people, and the only way that it's going to come through is if they practice getting it out. And it doesn't
Right.
have to be shared, but like just practice your creations.
Let me just. Yeah, I'm with you. And I think that's what kids do. You know, I was
Totally, it's playing.
I was
Play with your
watching this.
abilities.
Yeah, I was watching this story about Eazy. You know, Eazy
Yeah.
from
Yep.
NWA.
Totally. Yeah.
And they were this one person was talking about the side of him that people aren't familiar with, which is, you know, he did a lot of charity work in the hood and so on and so on. But this one friend was talking about, and it was a homeboy that he'd had for many, many years, and he was talking about observing Eazy-E with his daughter, who was like
Wow.
4 years old, and they were coloring in a coloring book. And there was something about that just kind of struck me as that's it right there. You know, that's it. Here, let me find the Zoom. Somehow or another it disappeared. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here is share the sound. Go here. Okay, let's see. That's making me do something. Okay, here we go. I might not be able to do it.
That's okay if you can't.
Well,
I'll read
that's
my poem.
yeah. You got a poem. That's right. You never read your poem. Oh, that's too bad.
It's all good. So this, I don't know if you can see that. This is the picture that felt right to go with the poem. It's like a peachy pink rose. So I have recognized by my own design that I am not meant to be confined, not by any teaching, rule, or wisdom. I can use many tools, I can expand within them, but as soon as I find a hint of dogmatism, it's time to throw them into the bin. Constantly, I am told to close my eyes and walk on my own, follow the sound deep below, deep within. I put my blindfold on, I walk the pathless path, I follow the way of the heart. It unfolds as I behold, the sound in the silence, the feeling in the stillness. I walk the invisible road. This is the only way we learn to uphold the innate fabric that is our very mold and build from there. From here we build into everywhere. When I hold on too tight to the external, it will be taken away because I am not designed to be that way. Hold on loosely and bend in the flexibility as my core is stability and allows adaptability. As I walk the way of the heart, petal after petal, unfolding, the word comes from the eternal spark. I need not memorize, for I am comprised, and all I need when it is needed arises.
When did you write that?
I wrote that 3 days ago. Or it wrote itself. I honestly don't really write. I just let it out, you know?
Right on.
I don't feel like I have to think about anything. It's just a feeling and then it just comes like waterfall. And people will probably notice I'll just post like 20 times a day. I literally just write and then hit enter, and there'll be like a million typos because I'm literally just writing into Facebook or Instagram and releasing these poems.
Wow.
And then I'll find a picture. I'll get like, go look up this. So I'll go look it up, and then it'll be like, that's the picture. Like, it's like so bizarre. It's not, it feels like I'm being led by the poem that
Yeah.
wants the picture, that wants the image to
Yeah.
capture the energy. So I'm just like obediently trying to allow myself to just be an empty vessel for that to come through.
Another pattern of the merge pattern.
Yeah.
I
And that's
mean,
how I made the song that I wanted to share. I have no skills to,
hang on.
um,
Let me try something else.
what
Keep
is it
going.
called?
Keep going.
I just, I don't have any training in technology or putting things together. And I felt like I had an energy that was just putting it all together for me. And I'm sure someone could probably
Here we go.
smoothen the edges out.
So here, this is the sound. Oh, wait a minute. I can actually put it on. Now everybody's gonna know I work in my shorts.
Truth is out, Todd.
Okay, here we go. So this is called Cosmic Heart Temple, right? Okay, we can do it this way. Jeez, that sounds like a. You know what it sounds like? You ever heard the what is it, the tabernacle choir, or one of those churches where they got the massive organ and the acoustics are just like,
Right.
the ceilings are like 40 feet high,
Yeah.
covered in gold. I mean, it just sounds like a. I don't know. How did you come up with that?
It's
Just
the same as the writing. It
yeah,
just
yeah.
I have these songs that come through like all day, and it started after I had my daughter,
Yeah.
and they just are constant. And so I felt to capture some of them, and I'll never be able to do them again. You know what I mean? Like they just come out once, and it's, you know, that's it. So
Did you use a what are those things called? A looper? Did you use something, or did you do that on the?
I did something where I will layer them.
Okay, so you had like a. Okay, I got you. I got you.
So
Yeah,
I will just go and go and go, and then
I got you.
I'll have it, and then I can chop it up and move it
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. You should make a video with it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
I'm
want
not
to
telling you
keep,
what to do. I'm not telling
yeah,
you what
no,
to do.
I want to keep playing for sure. I
Like
want to
that
keep
was
playing.
yeah, that was interesting. I picture like being in a like just being like in a little hut, like a teepee or something, and you're just laying down and you got colors. Like
Yeah.
Keith K from Sedona or Phoenix, he does that color kind of therapy. I don't know what you really call it. He's got a whole bunch of different ways he does it. Like he had a bunch of people in a pool and they piped the lights into the pool and the music. I mean, he uses
Okay.
color as a lot of people use, other like toning or singing bowls. He brings in color, and to me, that's what that felt like. It felt like different colors, like different rays, basically. Yeah,
I had a vision in meditation in 2011, 12, and it was of this. I was showing like, this is our hospital. We don't have a hospital. We've got
yeah.
these chambers, and it was just these crystal beds that were full of liquid, and people would sit in them, and they had light in the crystal beds, and they were playing sound. So the sound would resonate with the quartz crystal basins with light and color. And these people were just in here, and they were like healing resonant chambers. But I was shown that
hmm
like ages
And the
ago
and the best
before getting
part
the sound.
And the best part about it is all this technology is free. It's
Oh
not going to
yeah,
cost you
right.
one single penny.
That's
So,
right.
you know, that's just another part of our evolutionary alignment, bringing all those things into a new version that has no pieces of it made of the old duality. All right, Candice, it's good seeing you. I saw
Nice to see
somewhere
you
that
too.
you mentioned Venus, right? I
Yeah.
don't even know her real name. I hadn't seen her around. Did she change her name?
No, Kate, she goes
Kate.
by Venus
Yeah.
on
Because
Facebook.
when you mentioned her, I saw a comment pop up that Morgan said her and her partner are coming on. Is that right?
That's amazing. Honestly, I
I didn't
haven't
even.
really
Yeah.
spoken to her physically
Uh huh.
in a long time. She's been in her incredible adventure, so I'll be tuning in, and I'm really excited to experience that.
Is she still in Costa Rica?
Oh yeah.
We've had 144 people in the house for most, give or take, and it's now 444 on my, but almost the entire time after the
Wow.
first few minutes. Yeah.
That's
Hey, it was
incredible.
good seeing you. Always the best to you and your family. Thank you
Yes,
for what you're
you as
doing. Thank you
well.
for being a friend, and thank you for putting it out there. And like like so many people out there, just doing your thing and not looking back, and
Yeah.
let's roll. But you take
That's
care. I love
awesome.
you, and
Love you too.
I'll see you later. Take
Yeah.
care.